Hey team, welcome back to another episode of the Jenn Commandments podcast. I am your host, Jenn Wien. I'm an engineer currently working in Wisconsin. I grew up in the Chicagoland area. Oh, and I went to college in Michigan. Hey. It feels like finals week. It feels like finals week. Holy shit. I know that the beginning of summer felt like finals week too before I traveled, but it really feels like finals week because it's end of fiscal year pressure finals week. Like this is more that was like internal pressure from me. This is like external the man pressure, you know. I got my period this week, so that means that last week was very hard for me to focus on anything other than just generally being like the worst person to exist. And not in like I did a good job of like not really doing it externally too much this month around, but sometimes it'll be the week before my period and I am uh so just like usually I'm pretty good at deciphering whether something is like my own anxiety talking to me, but a lot of times I am more susceptible to projecting my inner anxieties onto people and being a fucking cunt, you know? So, I don't know. I've been doing some shit. I've been trying to distract myself from all that, from the fact that I'm trying to distract myself from the fact that seasonal depression is coming up, that holiday depression is coming up, just like all of that stuff that I know that is coming, the darkness that looms, you know? Jesus Christ. So it's gonna get progressively spookier in here as the weeks progress. I haven't decided whether or not I'm gonna dress up every week in Halloween. It's a big commitment. But we'll see. We'll see what I can fucking muster up during that time period. I love Halloween. I start thinking about Halloween like I'm pretty sure I picked the date for my Halloween party. I knew I was going to throw a Halloween party this year. I picked the date when I was planning for the year back in January. Like I am dead fucking serious about this shit, bro. Like oh my goodness. I don't know. It's fun to before I had accepted about myself that I enjoy like acting and like the entertainment of it all, like dancing, performing, you know, the performance that is whatever this is in addition to whatever it is that I'm doing when I'm around other people, you know, the bit or whatever. I don't know. I really enjoyed Halloween because it was a socially acceptable time for everyone to dress up and to act silly, goofy, and not be yourself, you know? Because I was too embarrassed to explore that in a, I don't know, like hobby way, which is like internal, I guess, but just like, ugh, you know? So I don't know. I love Halloween. I have two separate costumes, two separate parties that I'm going to for sure or a part of, and then I'm plotting on these episodes to see what I'm gonna do. I have like a confirmed interview that I'm really excited about. There's just some things that are happening, but things are slowing down for the year if you can't tell. Like at the beginning of the year I really planned up and stocked up like planning for guests and that sort of thing. And now I'm sort of already starting to plot on 2026 and what I'm going to do for 2026 and how I can even grow and make this even better yet. Then, but in the meantime, obviously, I'm going to continue to journal verbally here, So, anyway, and hopefully still have some really great content in the meantime. It's not like, whatever. But, what was I talking about, team? Oh, Halloween. It's so fun to plan. I love the creative aspect of it. I love that this is a time where everyone gets to try to be creative. I am sort of, because I'm also busy, sometimes I just gotta give it up to the Fashion Nova gods, or give it up to the Spirit Halloween gods and see what they got going on. I do try to like thrift or get my pieces from like Hobby Lobby or whatever. Um, but there's only so much we can do, right? So that's what we're working with this year. I'm excited. Yeah, that's the tea on that. What else? What else we got going on? I'll probably bring it up every week, and you'll get to see throughout. So yeah. Then what else? What else we got going on? Oh, bro, I spoke on the phone with my lawyer for like an hour, and it's nice to get some, like, I don't know, positive affirmation, and like, not even from a like legal point of view. That's some other shit that we can talk about some other day. But more from just like a mentorship point of view of like, here's what we're going to work on as a community, and somebody who really understands what I'm trying to accomplish. I think that was really helpful to just have somebody. There's a big part of this, and like part of why it sort of felt dormant to me over the last few months of activism just in general. And I'm dealing with things, so I've sort of just allowed myself to take the break or whatever. But I think that I had heard so many no's and gotten so many, like, so much pushback, and I know that that comes with this. That's like a part of what we're working on, is like, you are going to hear so many more no's and so much more pushback, and like, obviously these people are not going to go up without a fight, you know like, they are going to hold on to every ounce of like pitiful, like allegedly like unrighteous. Is there a spider? Crisis averted. Everything is okay. What was I talking about? Oh, but it was just nice to hear somebody who, I guess, that I perceived was on the other side of it all, like, who was not within the system. Like, lawyers certainly work within and without of the system, but like, somebody who was, I don't know if well respected is the right word, but someone who I respect, certainly, understand where I'm coming from and understand my goals, and like, discussed them with me, and I don't know, actually took me seriously and heard me out, instead of just like pretending like what I was saying was bullshit. Because I know that there's not many women who have the exact same story who are all lying. And so it's just, yeah, it's disappointing. And although things may or may not happen in like my favor, I'm going to keep you guys all informed on everything, but if like, I just know that my intentions are pure as it relates to I want to make sure that I know that I harp on this week after week, just that like I care more about I'll take the law. Like I know that that's like I was telling him like I would if if you told me over a year ago when all this started that this would end in a lawsuit from a teacher, I would still move forward the exact same way that I have. I don't regret any decisions that I've made, although some of those decisions may have been rash. Like, I also know that like sometimes change doesn't happen by doing like the exact right thing all the time. You know what like I, I was doing what I thought was the right thing while pushing it to to the max limit that I could, and maybe I overstepped. You know, who's to say, right? A judge. That's sort of just how I feel, I guess. So I don't know what the intentions are, like what at the heart of all of that, if the intentions are purely financial related, then that's fine. Then like go ahead and move forward. But like if like the intentionality is to like teach someone a lesson, like good luck to you, babe. You know, we could do this forever then, I guess. That lesson ain't never gonna get lessened, you know? I've been watching, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Jersey Shore because I've needed to lock into work. And as y'all know, that's my comfort show, to lock into work because I know it so well. Those fucking piece of shit Jersey Shore castmates, they feel like my goddamn family. I love them. And I know I've talked about it on the podcast before. It just brings me such a sense of that was like the first thing I sort of discovered on my own that was like, oh, I think this is cool. And I know that sounds silly, but like I discovered it on like MTV. I had like a little princess TV. It was pink. I like and I had the little DVD like matching DVD player. I had it until I was like 15 or 16. I had to like beg to get a new TV cuz it was a little embarrassing to have at well into my teenage years. Like it was fine. I didn't really give a fuck, but like at some point I was like, "Hey, maybe we should switch this up," you know? But I'm so pissed now. I still wish that I had it. But I would watch that in my room because there was some part of my childhood where when we heard my dad's truck come down the driveway, we scattered to our respective rooms. Now, mind you, okay. So I forget when. My memory is not very good between the ages of like second grade to whenever my dad moved out. So I forget when my father kicked my mom out of their shared bedroom. Okay. But um yeah, that was like one of the arguments they had was something I don't know what had happened, but like the ending consequence was that like my mom was kicked out of their shared bedroom that was on the like main floor of my house, um and she was banished to our basement where she then slept. And I remember the first few nights I was so scared because that left me to have my bedroom up on the same floor as him without her. Um, and I remember being terrified. Um, and so for like the first few nights, I like sobbed and couldn't sleep, and so I would come down and sleep with her. Um, and yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. So the tea is there was a period of my childhood where when we heard my father come home, where his truck was in the driveway, we would scatter to our respective rooms. So I spent a lot of time in my room during those time periods, and that's how I discovered Jersey Shore. Was I was surfing channels as a child in my room, and I stumbled upon Jersey Shore, and so I don't know, for me, and Jersey Shore is just as chaotic as what my home life was. And so it made me it made me feel really comforted, honestly. And to this day, like, those characters, those people, they bring me so much comfort, which I know is fucking crazy, but like I truly am so happy for most, like, their journeys, and I hope the best for them. They are misogynistic, fat phobic, like likely terrible people, right? Um but I don't know, they got me through such a like part of my childhood. And yeah, it was the first thing that I feel like I really like found out. Yeah, like found on my own. So love them down. I've been watching that a lot as I've been working. I've put together a Lego set. I don't know if you can. Oh, wrong side. I don't know if you can see it. Right there, right there. Love that. Um, super cutie. Like I said, I'm preparing for Halloween, so I'm, in order to like not stress myself out, because I travel like every weekend in October. So we're also coming up on a big travel period of my life again. Um, and so I know this is one of those times, y'all, where I really need to lock in. and like and like the pressure has, I've already started to feel the pressure, but like my body still hasn't like locked in for real yet, you know? It's like, oh my god. Ugh. So yeah. Yeah. I've been so the next thing I want to tackle is, and I'm going to do a YouTube video. I've decided about it, is I want to tackle my balcony. Now, I have been so blessed. This is my third year on my lease. Um and I have been so blessed with like this huge, beautiful balcony for the last 2.5 years. And like Dante's really the only one that's like really enjoyed it. And I want to make it something like a place that's homey at least a little bit before I leave. I haven't decided if this is my last lease or it's going to be another one. I know that I keep extending my time here. Um, but I just, I love it here. So we'll see. And I don't know. I think I want the next time I move to be into something that I own, you know? We'll talk about it some other day. But that's sort of like the type of moves that I've been thinking about lately. Something that I thought that would be sort of interesting to talk about a little bit, and like we've talked about my father a little bit, now that we've bashed him like the proper amount for this episode, I do also want to discuss some things that my father helped me with, my mother as well. Um, so like my relationship to money is really bad, right? And over the last year and a half, this time period that I haven't been talking to my mom, I've been able to take like the money out, or sorry, the shame out of my relationship to money, because I think for so long, because like shame was such an imperative tool that was placed upon me by both of my parents as it relates to money. Um, and in a lot of ways, money has always been used as like a control tactic of me. And then like I don't know, it's been sort of the only, it's been the supplement to every sort of other love that I've ever received, right? So my relationship to money is like very interesting because in a lot of ways it's the only way that I really know how to show love to people, because it's the only way that love was shown to me. Like, and I think that I'm good at showing love to people in different ways. I think I have to make a very distinct effort because I know that at my core, I don't want to come across like, and it's not even just a come across thing. Like, I don't want to be the person who, like, for so long, I felt that that was the only thing that I brought of value or whatever, that I had to do those things, whether it be like bring gifts every time I saw people, just like those sort of things. It's just like a weird self worth thing. It's a weird, like, I don't know. There's just like a lot of weird layers to that. And it comes back to, I don't know. Money is something that everyone has a weird relationship to, right? And I didn't super realize that my family was upper middle class until not like, okay, I've known for a while, but then I don't think that my mom, the heart, or like, I think she was very not prideful. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think that I it would be hard to, money's just a hard conversation, right? Because listen, here's something that I realized recently, right? um my father was lucky enough to be born into generational wealth, and I don't know if it's multi-generational wealth. I don't know what my grandfather was born into. um But I do know that my grandfather made a good living for himself. He was in, like, I don't know, like medical sales, I think, or like chemical sales or something like that. He was in chemical sales of some sort. And then and my grandma worked. She was a nurse. So she made her own money, which I think is revolutionary, right? And so they were loaded for the time. I would say probably. And so my dad had a lot of options, and I think that he was probably allowed to fuck up quite a few times to figure out his shit, right? And that was a luxury that my mom wanted to be able to give to her children, because she was never allowed that. Like, she was one of nine, and she grew up on a farm. Like, those were just very, they grew up in very different circumstances, and I that is not like a shame thing. That's, I don't ever, like, you don't, it's not your circumstances, what you're born into, none of that is shameful. That's just like the truth, the fact of the matter, you know. And so my brother and I were born into very different circumstances. My brother was born into a teen parent, um, who got like a lot of familial. My brother certainly like grew up being babysat and whatnot by aunts and uncles a lot. Where like my parents were like growing, excuse me, sorry, my parents were married. I was like intentional, although like they did not have a functional marriage. They had a marriage, they had like rental properties. My parents had like over 20 units worth of rental properties when I was born. And so they, I think technically were millionaire. I don't know how much, like, but their net worth had to have been over $1 million if I had to guess. um because many of the properties that they owned were multi-unit properties. We owned like many houses that we rented out to people. Hey, the episode's supposed to come out in like, I don't know, a couple of hours. Um and I'm just like airing shit out. But like here's the truth of things. Because I think that so we're going to talk about finances a little bit, and like what I think you should start with as it relates to when you start to think about life savings and like that sort of thing. Okay. I've been around money my whole life. Um, Whether it be like cash, like I've been going to banks like once a day, like a lot of my childhood, you know. Anyway, so um I grew up rehabbing houses. I grew up being an employee, and not, certainly not as bad as my brother. But I grew up being an employee of my parents. Like I was trimming houses when I was like, I don't know, 4. Like I started young. They had me taking outlet covers off of outlets when I was 3 years old. Hey, they had me with a screwdriver near outlets when I was 3 years old, bro. Hey, what the fuck was that about? Here's where I'm starting when I'm thinking about savings. Now, if you can do more than this, then do more than this. If you can't do as much as this, then don't, right? But here's, as a retired, like, someone who has a spending problem. Like I admittedly do, if there's like money in my account, I want to spend it on bullshit. Like I love spending money. And that's like a very capitalist thing about me that I'm trying to unlearn. It's like dopamine addiction. There's just like all sorts of like reasons why. It's like lack of discipline. There's a million things of unlearning that's happening right now, and I'm doing so much better. But here's for me, having like savings happen, it needs to happen on like a weekly basis, or like, yeah, for me it has to happen weekly. So I put hours a week towards like a life savings, right? Like overall, at all costs I try not to ever touch what's in that savings account. Now, obviously, shit hits the fan sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna have to touch it, and that's okay. That's what life is. That's why ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why you have savings, right? So that's like a life savings, right? Now, personally, um, I like to have like a fun savings account because I like to go on trips. I like to maybe get a tattoo every once in a while. I like to, I don't know, above and beyond what I already have for like a spending budget. Cause like I do, okay. So I have like a regular bank account that is like a national bank account. I know that there are other, because I've moved so much over the years, I've just found it easiest to use like a US bank, a Chase, whatever you want to use, go ahead. But like that's what works for me. A Wells Fargo. I wouldn't use Wells Fargo. I don't know why, but I've heard not so great things. But you do what you need to do, right? Then then I also have an Acorns account. Through that Acorns account, I pay whatever amount a month that you need to pay in order to have a checking, a savings, and a Roth IRA. Because I have both a investment account and a later account for Acorns, and then I have a checking and a savings account through them. Okay, my that's where I hold my life savings. Okay, um, because it's harder for me to access that money because I'm a retired spender, right? So I keep that debit card like hid away in a bad part of my purse. It's hard to get to or whatever. In case of emergencies, I have it or whatever. But if not, then keep that shit stowed away. Okay. Then I do. So I have $100 a week that I have put towards that, my life savings. I also do 25 a week into the investment fund that just does like day trading for you. I think Acorns does that. So I do the roundups through Acorn. So they have access to your bank accounts and they will just round up every time you do a transaction, they'll round up to the dollar and then just like hold that in a investment account that they like day trade however they see fit or whatever. That's your shit, to be honest. But you choose like how aggressive you want them to trade your shit and they do it for you. In addition to my roundups that I do for my investment, I do 25 a week there. Okay. And like I said, more or less, however you see fit. I don't give a fuck how you save. Okay? It's sometimes shit's gonna be sunnier for me. Sometimes shit's gonna be rainier for me. That's what life is. Okay? But here's how I'm handling it right now. In my opinion, you want to have at least 3 months worth of emergency spending, right? So have that in a separate savings account. I have that in a savings account with Rocket Money. Now, here's where Rocket Money comes. So for services now that I pay for as it relates to my finances, I pay for Acorns, like premium account, and I pay for Rocket Money. Now, I do think Rocket Money is worth it. I think it's like $7 a month or something. Like it tracks my spending for all my cards and then it gives me a budget for those things. And then also it tracks like it will similarly to Acorns. It's a little different, but they look at my bank accounts and they'll like save based on what they can take without me basically without me noticing from my checking accounts. And I think that is super helpful too, because I'm somebody who, like, I can't notice. You know what I mean? Just save for me. And like, I go through my finances every time I get paid, where I'm like, here's what I need to pay in the next 2 weeks. Here's all the stuff that's coming out based on like what I'm going through right now. And then here's what I think I'll spend on this, this, and this. What do I have at the end? Is there anything that I can put extra towards one of these savings accounts? But here's how it's laid out, sort of. So you want to try to aim to have 3 months worth of expenses. That's rent, that's all your payments that you need to have for everything, what, like, whatever. That should, I have that in a separate savings account. So I have my life savings, right? Like my money that I try not to touch ever, right? That's in one account. And then I also, so, and I have X amount going towards that a week. Then I have that X amount that I have going towards like a regular investment account. Then in a Roth IRA is like pre-taxed. So from my understanding, my limited understanding, this is money that it gets taxed as you go. So when you go to take it out, when and if you make it to retirement, right? If we don't all blow up by then, it doesn't have to get taxed then. You get to take that lump sum out fully or whatever. I don't know. I have, I think, 25 a week going towards that too. So I have a fund savings account as well. So I do like an emergency. Emergency can also be you could just dip into it, you know, like that is your tires. When you need to get new tires, I would dip into that. Obviously, try to replenish it as it goes. But those are the type of the like those unforeseen expenses. I also now have like a legal savings account that I feed into, which is super cool, super fun. But that's just what it is. You know, if you have a goal for something, create a savings account for it. Put put $10 on it a month. I don't know, whatever, but have so I just like, for me, it helps me to see the separate bank accounts. Okay. So eventually, in addition to my life savings and then like my emergency savings, I want to have like 10 grand also, like a savings set aside, where like at any given moment, if I want to drop 10 grand on something, I can, you know, just like to have and to hold, you know. um but yeah, I don't know. I, I don't know if this episode is like, if I can even release this, really. I really trauma dumped. I really, all the shit that I said is true. I don't know if y'all really need to know all that. Um, but like I said, I think transparency is really important. My mom, I think she had decent savings to try to pay for her way through the divorce, to in order to be compensated fairly for all of the life work that they had put into creating the property dynasty or whatever that they had created. I don't really know how to like that, but they had like a business together, you know, like they were business partners, in my opinion, more than they were romantic partners. And that's why so when we talked last week about how marriage is a financial transaction, that is sort of what I mean as well. Is like, I saw how it negatively went as well. Like, I will never get married without a prenup. or like some sort of written agreement on if we go into business together in these sort of ways, then we are splitting assets fairly. Like any sort of property that is acquired together needs to be, like, there just needs to be some sort of contract within any sort of legal anything that has to do with me binding myself to another human being. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just like, I saw my parents' divorce took like 4 fucking years. And my mom was left with like me, the house that we like, that I grew up in, and then like one other house, and like my father got all other assets, and I think she got some of their, like his retirement as well, because that was like their money, but I don't think she got fairly compensated at all, at all. And she certainly got some sort of child support for me as well, but like my father did not help with any of my college education. My father did, and the way that they raised me, or the way that like I had been raised up to that point, would have led me to believe that those things would have been the case. Now, I think that it's certainly fair that it was assumed that I knew the implications that divorce would have been to our financial situation. I think that I don't like, I was I don't know, 11-year-old, I think, when my parents split up. I might have been 12. Like I said, I don't really remember that time that well, but I was young. Um so I too young to like truly understand. Like I just knew that I had been begging my mom to leave my dad for years and years, and I was just like so excited and relieved when she finally had like decided to go through with it. Um because it was just like miserable living in a house where everyone did not like each other. Like it was just terrible. And so yeah, I was stoked. But like I don't know. I do, so Bestie and I were talking about that, and he was like, I don't know, so you learned a little bit about money right off the bat. So through my parents' divorce, I sort of learned, not learned how to finesse credit, but like I've seen people go through times of hardship and make it out without like not not like fucking up their credit that bad. So I don't know. It's hard. It I want to be transparent that like it's hard without money, and try to make a cushion for yourself as quickly as possible. I know that it seems impossible right now, and I know that it sounds out of touch for me to say that as like somebody who does decent for themselves, but I feel it too, you know. So I don't know. That's what's been on my mind. It's been on my mind because I had that conversation with Bestie, and I was like, oh, I guess I should share like how, and I don't know if that even is helpful because I've just started to care about my finances in like the last, I don't know, truly like last 8 months, if we're being super honest about it. And even in the last 8 months, I've slipped back up, like it's still not perfect. And it's like, it's literally like an addiction thing. Like it's similar to being addicted to your phone. It's similar. It's like it's dopamine shit. Um, it's excess. It's all sorts of things. So um, we're trained. We're being sold to constantly. So try to understand when you're being sold to. And I don't know. Weird episode here today. Talked about a lot of weird shit. Um, but I think all of it is relevant and all of it's important as we head into this fall season. Really get into some good habits, because as it gets colder, we're not socializing as much. We're really locking into some things. I ran my longest run I ever did yesterday. So we're locking in, right? And so as you do that, think about your relationship to like money and how it has to be balanced too. It can't just be like I don't spend money ever. Have a shopping budget. Go out, hey, I spend this money, much money a week on fun shit for myself. I got these cutie earrings from the farmer's market. Shopping budget. I got some Fashion Nova stuff for Halloween. Shopping budget. Actually, that's my fun budget. My fun budget right now is dedicated towards my Halloween party. So that's that's part of it, right? I knew I had that savings account that I had been periodically throwing some money at, and now I get to reap those benefits now that I'm throwing a party. So it's like, set some goals up for yourself. What do you want to what are some financial goals that you have? Start thinking about it. I don't know. It's never I we're not it's time. We're not kids. It's time. Okay? I love you very much. I don't know if any of this made sense, but I think it did. So, and if it didn't, y'all will let me know. So, love you so much. I will talk to you soon. Wash your face, drink some water. Bye.